Are you a light worker? Today I'm going to talk about signs of a light worker. And guess what? The fact that you're watching this video means that you probably are a light worker. Talk about everything today on Earth 1111. Hey, it's Roxanne, Earth 1111. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I make new videos. Don't forget to share the video with everybody you know. Comment and like, it really helps my videos get seen to more people. So thanks for spreading that light. So I want to get into a lot of different signs today, and of course, take what you resonate with and leave the rest, because of course we are all different beings with different experiences. So there's no cookie cutter explanation for a light worker. But today I'm going to give you a lot of different signs that might make you laugh, might make you cry. Keep in mind that a lot of these signs of a light worker are really an indication that we need to do a lot of inner healing work, right? So a lot of these signs I'll be talking about will be a lot of things that we experienced as kids, because of course when we are children, we haven't done our inner alchemy yet, and so we really tend to display a lot of the more negative characteristics of a starseed or a light worker. And a light worker really is the same thing as a starseed, indigo, empath, crystal child, twin flame, whatever these words we want to use, which are really just describing our stage in the ascension process. So these are all light workers. So I'm gonna get into a lot of different things today. Again, take what resonates and leave the rest. And then when things start shifting in your own life, you can kind of come back to the video and be like, whoa, this is now happening to me. So let's get into it. So usually when we are a light worker, we don't really fit in to society because we come from really an alignment to a higher frequency, which means we have higher realms that we can tap into. So we're not really just stuck in this 3D life that most people are in. So it really is hard, especially as children during when we're growing up, because we don't really fit in with society, and we definitely don't fit in with our families. And remember, that is meant to be, because if we fit in, then we might go off of our path, right? So again, as light workers, we typically go through a number of years or decades where we are unawake. So this is where we are trying to assimilate ourselves in society. We're trying to fit in. We're trying to have that normal job, that 3D life. And then everything comes to a halt when we have that heart awakening, that first awakening. So we came here to create a different world, which is why we never fit in to the false illusions of the inorganic realities, right? Where we were told to focus on making money, right? We were told to be greedy and to take from others. We were told to only focus on the physical and all the surface level BS, right? And so as light workers, we always felt there was something beyond that. We always felt there was something deeper than that. Really, a lot of us, we hated fakeness. So whereas a lot of people, especially as teenagers and stuff, can kind of fit in and act fake and try to be liked by other people, but be liked by friends. And again, as light workers, sometimes we did that, right? We tried to kind of dumb ourselves down to really fit in, or we tried to just go with the flow. But we never really had that many close friendships. So a lot of times a light worker may be someone who is a hermit, or it may be someone that has many associates, but not many close friends. So even though you're kind of friends with everyone, it's more like you're associates with everyone. So you don't really let that many people in. And it's really because we don't really have that many people that are really someone that we can really open up to and expose our deepest, darkest truths. And that really comes down to the point that even in our family unit, we never really felt safe to express ourselves. Or we were always that one who was the black sheep of the family, who just our energy field liked to trigger other people. So other people just being in the home with us would be triggered, or would be, or we would be the ones who was that bad kid, because we were always emotional and we were always really projecting other people's stuff back at them, and they didn't like that. So a lot of times, as light workers as well, we like to shine the light on all the darkness. So we end up becoming very negative if our environment is very negative. So you might have been a kid who was just a miserable kid, right? Maybe overly emotional, or you always just had issues. So remember, we take on energy of other people. Because our field is so expanded, we can feel everyone's stuff. And of course, usually we choose families to reincarnate into, to heal the abuse, the trauma, the addictions, whatever issue that family lineage has had over many generations. We choose that family for a reason, to heal finally that template within ourselves. And so those issues don't continue. You know how someone who's abused as a kid usually ends up abusing their own kids, and it goes, or that cycle continues? That's the type of trauma that we end with us. And so a lot of times we're not really accepted into the family really like other people. We definitely feel like we are different than anyone else, and we're not really understood, right? Like I said, a lot of times we're blamed for all the issues in the family because, you know, we're the ones that just take everyone's stuff. And again, this can, as we do our own inner healing, this changes, right? So as we heal our own self, we actually heal the DNA of our family. So you will find that as you do your own inner alchemy, you merge with your own shadow over a process of many months and years, you will watch your family change. Automatically, they will wake up and ascend and be on the ascension process, really without having to do a lot of the hard work, because you've done it for them. And again, right, we can go on and on and on about all the different family dynamics, but really we're just put there to really project that shadow from the family. A lot of times the family that we choose doesn't really have that emotional intelligence or the heart opening to really give us that childhood without really causing us a lot of issues that we later on have to then deal with. So again, that's all part of the process. We're not victims. We chose our family. So always remember that. But again, we need that alone time. We need the alone time to really separate our field from everyone else's stuff. So if you're someone that really is always feeling the emotions of everyone, but you're not getting away into nature and dissipating the energy, then that could be one of those big issues. And again, maybe you're someone who's always loved your alone time. I know myself, I always loved being alone. I just love it because I can really connect into much higher realms than I can with hanging around with friends or family. But remember, being the hermit is all part of the stage, but later on we do need to now, so after we do the healing, we can now put ourselves back into society to now become the way showers, which is what's happening right now. So everyone, it doesn't matter when you woke up, if it was 40 years ago or 4 days ago, you are all on the perfect plan of where your soul wants to be. So we can kind of wait, and we can kind of waste a lot of years, and then we're going to have that abrupt kundalini activation and really get caught up after many years of really wasting our time or going down the wrong path. So this is why we literally have to change our life drastically as light workers. So if you're someone that is always moving around or changing jobs or always just, you know, always having these big life changes, you're probably a light worker, because light workers are never stable. So anyone that really has that, you know, life where you have that, where you get married, you have that white picket fence, you have the 2 kids, you have the job for 40 years, that is literally the opposite of what a light worker wants, right? And so if you've always had that dream for yourself that just everyone around you just, you know, thinks you're nuts, you're probably a light worker, because we are not meant to be stuck in these small limiting lives ever. And if you get yourself into that, you know, lifestyle for a few years or a few decades, then you're really going to have that soul. Your soul is going to be talking to you. Your higher self will be trying every day to get you to snap out of it, to move on, because we're never meant to be stuck in one life doing the same old thing like robots. That is the opposite of what a light worker is here to do. We are meant to shine the light on the shadow, heal that shadow, and then rebuild a whole new world. So we're doing it all right now. So other things that we've had is a lot of times, most light workers have always had that feeling that they're meant to save the world in some way. They're meant to do something huge. And even as kids, I remember being a 5-year-old and, you know, thinking that I'm the only one alive and everyone else is an actor, right? These weird things that come into your mind as a kid, which later on you realize, whoa, that's the truth, right? We are all center of our own reality. And when we change, everyone out there shapeshifts and we start, you know, interacting with everyone's higher selves or a higher version of someone, right? So really that weird thing I thought about when I was 5 or 6 years old that really no kid thinks of ends up becoming true, right? Because we are the writer, the director, the actor in our own reality. And when we change, all the actors out there change as well. So remember that. So you might have always had that feeling that you need to save the world or do something huge. And you always have this feeling that you're not doing enough. You have to be doing something more, right? So a lot of us are huge perfectionists, or those people that are really high-strung, A-type personalities that have to just do. And again, that's part of it, but we need to become in balance, because remember, a lot of us are overly masculinated, which is that mentality that we need to be doing. And so a lot of times in our ascension process, we have to now come back in a balance by doing nothing, by becoming just the being state. So again, that'd be for other videos. So hyperactivity can also be a huge factor in light workers. ADD, ADHD, again, remember these terms a lot of times were created for the system to medicate kids like this, right? Light workers, indigos, empaths, because we have a lot more energy, a lot more information going through our physical body, our nervous system. It seems like a lot of us are always overcharged with energy. And again, that happens throughout the process, right? When we are taking on new fields of plasma, because plasma, these dimensions that we are connected to are literally light information. And your body has to always be adjusting and processing this information. But remember that we can also heal a lot of that with diet. So eating for the light body. Again, if you're wondering about what that all means, that I can do a video on it, let me know in the comments. But any type of issue that a lot of light workers have, you know, things like Asperger's or autism, all of that can be really healed with things like diet or environmental changes. Inner trauma work, all those types of things can really heal a person at the core level. Remember, we are never victims to any type of diagnosis. And so a lot of light workers were even on a lot of antidepressants or other types of ADD, ADHD meds growing up. Because of course, right, the system needs to suppress the changes going on in the world. So what they do, they suppress the people. Now, lightworkers can also have genius capabilities. So a lot of lightworkers are really talented in a certain area of their life, maybe math, lots of artistic or creative abilities. So there'll always be something that a lightworker is just so amazing at, even to the level of genius capabilities. So remember to nourish that, right, in ourselves. Remember what we're good at, because what we're good at can also lead us down the road to find our soul mission. The choices as light workers that we make, no one else out there can understand, right? So you might choose to go live in the woods by yourself. You might choose to go traveling the world for 20 years and be a nomad. You might choose, it doesn't matter what you choose. Other people will not understand it. And that's because you're following your heart. You're following your inner guidance. And if you don't follow it, it's always there talking to you, and it gets louder and louder and louder. Whereas other people that aren't really connected to the higher realms don't have that connection to their heart. And so they don't really even fathom that what they're doing is completely out of alignment with their truth and with their soul mission. So they just go through life like a robot, right? Through their programming like most people do. So that's where we need to realize is that as light workers, the things that you do, the choices you make, will never really align to the average person. They will think you are wasting your life. And again, we came here for this moment. So everything that happened to you, doesn't matter what job you did, what skills you worked, which education you got, what happened in your life, it was all meant to be for this moment right now. So everything that we learned is all meant to really come to a climax, that we can use all those skills right now. So as light workers, we're always been interested in the unknown, in those weird realms, right? Aliens, ghosts, psychic abilities, all the different hidden realms, all the secrets of the universe. So if you're someone, even as a kid that's always loved things like ghost stories or things like that, that is probably an indication that you're a light worker, because we're not really just going to take what we're told as fact, right? And a lot of light workers as well have an issue with authority, because we always have that inner authority that's aligned right to source. And so we really don't care what society's authority figures tell us, because we know better. We are connected right to the source field. We are guided by our truth and not by someone else. So if you're someone, again, that has always had an issue with authority figures, of course with parents, teachers, with the law, right? A lot of light workers, like I said, we choose to have very colored lifestyles, and we can really get involved with a lot of really the shadier people in life, because again, as light workers, a lot of us are taken advantage of by other people as well, by narcissists or other people, right? Whether it's boyfriends, girlfriends, friends. So these really darker, shadier people in the world that are disconnected from their own truth, their own light, do try to really take advantage of us. So a lot of times we've had issues like that in the world or in our life, as well as we've always been the one that's tried to save other people. So if you ever had a lot of friends that were kind of the shadier type, right? The smoke pit ones, the ones that were kind of the partiers. I know myself, I had a lot of friends that I needed to be the savior. And of course, right, I was the one that all my friends came to for advice. As we ascend on this path, usually kind of the opposite happens. So the shadier people go away completely. And no one really wants to hear your opinion, because as we hold more truth, no one wants to hear it, because it means that they have to make those changes. So that's really the biggest thing to realize, is that a lot of people, you know, they feel your field and they automatically don't like you, right? So if you've had an issue in your life where certain people just do not like you, and other people, of course, love you and will support you in any way. So it's really, you really polarize people in either category. And again, as we hold more light, as we do more healing, all of the kind of narcissist people go away because they can't handle your light. And then the people that are kind of coming up the path, you know, your family members and stuff, they'll do anything they can to not ask you for your advice, right? They don't want to know your advice. They want to know about it because you do have a lot of the answers that they don't really want to hear. So if you're someone that's always had that knowingness, where you've always had that connection, where you can always really tell the future, or of course, any other psychic ability, right? So we've had maybe the ability to sense energies, or you know, see visions or hear voices. And of course, being an empath is an understatement. So a lot of us are so sensitive to other people's energies, to other people's emotions, to maybe scary movies, to foods, to the environment, to toxins, chemicals, right? So if you're someone that had, I know myself, I had big time, massive allergies and asthma actually growing up. So, and again, it's something that we can heal as we heal our own and purify our own physical body. So remember that. We are never just victims to these things, okay? So your ability to be an empath and your sensitivity, of course, will increase at the beginning of our ascension path, because our frequency goes up, but we haven't quite now healed our shadow. So until you heal your shadow, you're gonna have a lot of voids and holes in your energy field that other people's stuff can get into. And of course, we have crystalline consciousness nervous systems. So we exist in complete balance, and anything out of balance, right? People's emotions, issues in the family unit or in your life, and of course, all types of food and chemicals that are really everywhere, trying to keep us out of balance. We will be extra sensitive to all those things. So remember, again, as we do our own inner healing and own inner purification of ourselves, then a lot of our sensitivities will become a lot more mild. So even though your frequency goes up, you have less of these holes where other people's stuff can get in, or you just have a lot more life force, a lot more of your chi or your prana moving through your body. So you don't really get off balance very easily after we do the work. But growing up as kids, typically we are going to be it's a very hard childhood usually as a light worker. And also simply because the world out there there's so much pain and suffering, and it really is hard for someone who's sensitive, a sensitive soul, to exist or even see that happening in the world, which is really a big reason why we came here, to change the world big time, to make sure that everyone is equal, everyone is existing in their heart, that we don't have these fake things going on in the world, these inorganic things going on in the world. So that's why you're meant to be here, and why we have had such a hard life. I mean, a lot of us are sensitive to things like social media or the internet. And of course, you know, Wi-Fi signals and things like that. So a lot of us have really been kind of offline a lot more compared to the average person, which is also making it a lot easier to transition right now in this moment where we don't know what's going to go on. So the more that we can detach and really enjoy our alone time in nature, the more that we can really help what's going on in the world going forward. So light workers typically are people that love to be in nature, that love to be around animals, that are very sensitive to kids, babies, right? Animals love them. It's because animals, kids, right? These pure beings can sense our frequencies and can sense the frequency of love and of beauty, right, that we hold. So if you have a lot of weird experiences with animals, with kids, right, things like that, a lot of weird experiences you can't explain to do with maybe ghosts or Ouija boards or aliens, all that type of stuff, you're probably a light worker. Oh, and by the way, before I go any further, you don't have to be knowledgeable about any of this weird stuff, right? You don't have to know a thing about awakening, about ascension to be a light worker. We all know those people, right, that are just so loving, that just exist in their heart. They just give off that beautiful energy. They always have a smile on their face and everyone wants to be around them. Those are also light workers. So remember, you don't have to be on the ascension path to even be a light worker. You can simply be someone that exists from their heart and lives every moment from a heart-based perspective. So those are also light workers. So another sign of a light worker is someone who likes to really disassociate themselves from life and being kind of in their own fantasy world, right? And so a lot of children, of course, light worker kids will have these elaborate imaginations, right? They might have had their invisible friend and things like that. And that's amazing, right? So we want to keep that inner child alive. That's that connection to our source. But the issue is we have a lot of light workers that want to go home, that feel that this is a prison planet, right? They feel that they don't belong here. Now remember, home is your own inner signature. It's your own inner frequency. So anyone that is always thinking that they want to leave, that they don't belong here. So we don't belong in this inorganic reality. We're meant to recreate it. So if you're someone that always wants to go home, right, thinking that you belong on another planet or another reality, remember, you need to get grounded. So get in your body, get deeper in your body, because your home frequency, that signature where you will feel safe, is being so deep within yourself that you sit in your body in the center, in your heart vortex. And then you will feel that you are home. The reason why people feel that they don't want to be here is because they're not grounded, right? When you are up here flopping around, subjected to anything that goes on, you need to ensure that you are grounded. You will feel a lot safer and you will feel a lot more stable and able to create that change in the world, which is why we came here. So even though you've had in your life many issues, you might have had a lot of addictions, where a lot of light workers, starseeds, empaths will have a life where they try to really just take off a lot of time, right? So they don't want to deal with anything, because that dark stuff, right? They don't want to feel it, that this planet holds. And it's really because they haven't dealt with their own shadow. So a lot of light workers will live a life with a lot of addiction issues or escapism or just anything trying not to deal with the present moment, right? They'll keep themselves obsessed with, with work or with shopping, right? Anything to keep them out of the present moment, because they don't like to feel what they feel in this present moment, and that's because they haven't done their own shadow work. So you will feel that when you do your own shadow working, when you do your own healing, that mentality, that feeling that this is a prison planet goes away, because you start now aligning yourself to such an organic core frequency of many layers of plasma, all the way up in the macrocosm, all the way down the microcosm. You feel so stable and so connected to Source, God, Creator, that consciousness that flows through everything, that you start realizing that, wow, I'm so glad that I'm here in this lifetime during this major transformation of this entire planet. Remember, you were chosen out of the zillions of souls, of soul fragments that wanted to come here to experience the ascension of this entire planet. You were chosen. You're one of the lucky ones that have been really trusted to make the changes in the world. So never feel that you're the victim and there was a mistake that you're here. The issue is the world out there that we need to change. And we change that world out there by changing ourselves within. So if you're someone that's never really fit in, you've always felt different, you've been the black sheep, you've been so sensitive, you can't live this normal life, you try to fit in, you try to be happy, but you're always, focused on the negative, or you try to fit in and party like everybody else, but we always just feel that there's an underlying something that we can't put our finger on, right? There's always been something that prevents us from being our true self. And that thing is healing yourself, right? When we're able to now heal ourselves, we can feel the amazing angelic frequencies, the crystalline frequencies of our true self after we do our own inner healing, because we have to heal the fractal soul that we incarnated here to do. In this moment, this is the lifetime that we are meant to merge with all aspects of self that are in the future, the past, the present. Every part needs to be healed and merged back into one in order for you to become the unified field. So we are the way showers that are going to be literally changing this entire world. But it all begins with us inside. And you will find a lot of these more negative traits can be healed when we do our own inner healing. And then we start being able to now use the positives, the advantages of us as light workers to now recreate the world, instead of always feeling that we were the problem, or instead of always feeling that, right, that there's something wrong with us, because there's never been something wrong with you. It's the world that needs to change. If you like the video, please like it. Don't forget to comment below your experiences of being a light worker. So again, I probably forgot a whole bunch more signs. Don't forget to share the video with everybody you know, subscribe, and hit that bell. Thank you so much, you guys. I'll see you very soon. I'm Roxanne. This is EARTH1111. Bye-bye.